All
Hey.
right. Hey,
Fun.
welcome everybody. My name's Randy McKean. You're here because you want to get the scoop on the secret barn show. Michelle Amador and company did. It's an amazing event. I was there in person, so thrilled to be asked to host. So we've got Michelle Amador here. We've got her group of amazing musicians: Tim Bulkley, Lisa Mezzacappa, Goh Nakamura, and yeah, we hope you guys have been able to check out some of the music on the secret link. I just love all these, like, everything feels like we're all insiders already, the way you set this up, Michelle. So welcome everybody.
Yeah, it's great to see everyone again, because I think the last time that we saw everyone was that show, except in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So that show was it was November 27th, if memory serves me right. That was up here in Grass Valley in Nevada County. And Michelle, like, so it was great. Can you tell everybody how this came about? Like, why?
Oh gosh. Oh wow. So many things that I wanted to say just then. I mean, I typically don't feel like I know what I'm doing with my artistry, and I often feel like I'm trying to listen to like where to go, either literally or artistically. And when the when the pandemic hit, it just seemed hard to figure out what to do, and so I started this live this live weekly show. And then I suddenly had a lot of music, and there was this moment, that golden moment, that seemed like we were coming out of it, and I had a show at the Center for the Arts here, and then that wave of Delta hit, and it wasn't the right time, and we didn't do a show then. We did, at that point there was also a fire and there was smoke, and so we did a show in our house, just as like a way to calm ourselves and calm other people in the community. And then I just remembered the barn host, Ben Zappin, mentioning that, hey, I have a barn and we've done shows there before. And, I think I even say this on the recording. It's just that whole thought freaked me out, because it was just like, I don't know how to, and then suddenly I just felt like, oh, this is this strange opportunity where in 2 weeks, it really is only, at that point in time, was like the only way you could organize was in 2-week windows. So if you can make a show happen in 2 weeks, make it happen. Otherwise, like, who knows when the next show is, kind of thing,
Well, it's funny. So I quizzed my wife, Lindsay, came with me to the show, and I was like, okay, 3 words. Like, what do you remember about this show? Because it's been like 3 months since then. And the 3 words she said were mystical, atmospheric, and joyful. Delight.
Yay.
No, the word was delight. She's like, those words don't go together. But that's what it was. Yeah. And I mean, just to set the scene for everybody, like, so my wife Lindsay and our oldest child Sophia, we drove out there. It's all dark, you're driving out into the wilds of Nevada County, and then you get, like, wait, is this the right place? Oh yeah, there's a barn somewhere. And then you park, and then you get out, you don't know where you are, but we're met by Mr. Benjamin Zappin, our host, and he's like, let me walk you up to the barn. So you're walking, they move the farm, they move the big gate, and you step over the hay bales, and you're walking. Watch out for that big hole. And then you get to this barn, and then you walk in, and there were lights all around, and it was super cozy. I think there was a little fire going, and you guys, the musicians, you guys were all there, and it was very magical. So really lucky that we were there. So, and of course, this is, Lindsay also said, everybody loves an origin story. So like, how did this particular band come together? I know.
I'm scrappy. And they're great, and I'm scrappy. Is that what? Does that make sense? Like, I'm like, come together now. Now it's gonna happen. You know. No, I mean, I think I don't know. We've all known each other for a long time, so.
Well, so I think that's what amazed me, because I kind of knew this was. I mean, it wasn't thrown together, but like, so you and Tim you've been doing this weekly. You've been doing a weekly show for, I guess it was a year and a half at that point. And, you know, you guys are playing every week. And of course you have your long history together. If the viewers don't know this, they are a longstanding couple, a respected couple with,
wow, okay.
And, but, you know, but also you and Goh have a long history. And I did want to ask, like, Goh, so you've been playing Michelle's music for quite a while. I know you on some of the recordings from a while ago. How did you guys, you're down in LA. How did you guys connect?
Well, I guess the origin story was that I would go visit them in New York, like over the past like 15 years, I think, right?
Yeah.
When you guys first moved out there. So I'd just kind of hang with them and play shows. I would always play duo shows with Tim in New York. And then what year was that when we went into the studio in Brooklyn?
I think 2014 for
14?
the How
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was fortunate to play on those recordings back then. And then I think I had mentioned to Michelle that I was driving up to the North Bay for Thanksgiving, and she was like, "Hey, you want to play a show?" And I was like, "Yeah." I hadn't even thought about playing a show since the pandemic hit, so it's definitely like very enticing, and just to hang with them, I would have just gone away.
Well, that's great. And Lisa, so I first heard. So this is a really funny story. I've known Lisa for many years. We play music together. And Tim and Michelle moved to town, was it 3 years ago, to Grass Valley?
Yeah, end of
4 years ago.
Yeah.
And somehow I saw Tim's name on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I live in Grass. I saw he was moving to Grass Valley. I'm like, hey, I live in Grass Valley. You know some of the people I do. Let's meet. So I think we had a classic meetup. I was waiting for him at this place, Three Forks Brewery, and I didn't know what Tim looked like. So I should have said, I should have had him wear a red carnation. Who is he? But he finally showed up. We got together. He came to my house and we played some music. And as he was leaving, he's like, oh yeah, you know, my wife Michelle plays music, and it's like Michelle Amador. It's like, Michelle Amador, I have a CD by Michelle Amador. My friend Lisa Mezzacappa gave it to me, and I think it's like product of when did you guys meet? This was at the Headland Center for the Arts.
Well, that was Lisa's project. So I was just.
It was super collaborative, though. Yeah. No, we knew each other, but that was the first time we worked together. It was really fun. We both wrote a bunch of songs for this crazy art project.
That was when we lived in San Francisco, right?
Yeah. That was like 2006.
Oh, right before we left.
Yeah, that was 2006.
And then also, you know, Michelle's been, so Lisa, you've got this opera project that you've been doing, and Michelle's one of the singers on there. But I'm just wondering, have you guys played much before, you know, this gig? Like I just was wondering how those previous collaborations informed this. Like, because Lisa, you just kind of like were a superhero and just like stepped in the last minute. And I was curious, like, did that connection help you guys?
We literally stepped in. Although we tried earlier, but
yeah. No, that was my first time, I think, playing a whole set of Michelle's music. Yeah, live. So, I mean, Tim and I have played in other people's bands before, and I've, you know, admired Michelle's music from afar, or we've collaborated, but we never actually like played a show together before. So, and of course, I know Goh from like his music and also from working with these guys. So this is the first time that we met, which is really fun.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, did that did those, that long friendship, does that help? Because like you were basically learning a lot of new music or playing some new music for the first time that day. So I'm just wondering, does that make it easier to like maybe read the intentions of, like you can kind of read Michelle maybe better than if you didn't. Like this is a cold call and you're stepping in.
You gotta hope. I mean, I have the sound of her voice in my head so much. I've been writing a lot of music for her, obviously, in the last couple of years. But I think I have a sense of what these guys do together, and I know her previous recordings. So at least knowing that, also, Michelle communicated what she wanted, and we had music, so it wasn't hopefully enough. And then that magic that happens in between the cracks of what is known and what's not known.
Yes.
You hope that, knowing each other for like decades, you hope that helps.
Gosh, there's so much great music. I think maybe now would be a good time to share. Give people a taste if they haven't. Of course, they've been listening to this all week, but
yeah, which one do you want to start with?
Let's see. How about all you want to trust?
All right, we'll start up with that.
All right, guys.
Here we go.
Doesn't rust, and miracles are the only thing
Yeah, you guys. So I love all these songs. I have to say, like one thing, I love how the guitar and the keyboards, like you guys mesh. So I think I said this to Go after the show. I was like, man, you guys are so intertwined. Like I don't know who's doing what sometimes. And I was just wondering, like, Go, you have this long history of songwriting, but then also you do all this, soundtrack work and other kind of composing it. I'm just kind of wondering, like, what set of skills are you drawing upon? Like, do you have a mode of thinking, or it's just you just, I guess, in the moment, or how do you think those things are all?
Just try not to mess up. Try not to clash, I guess.
Yeah. But I love the whole,
yeah. No, I was just gonna say I move pretty slowly on the keyboard. I often feel like very molasses like. So hopefully that provides a wide enough window for other colors and movements. Yeah, I almost feel like I'm like bricks on the roads. Like, I wish I could just move a little faster, but I just, that's not apparently what I'm able to do, at this point in time anyway.
Well, and it's like, I know a lot of these, like, this is one of the newer songs, and you've been, I'm just wondering how the like the songs that you've done for a while, like do these arrangements, is it different every time? Like, I mean, like we were talking about before, this is a brand new bunch of people. Like, do you just like start the tune, or do you give people some sense of what to do, or you just let these superior minds just kick to gear?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, for this song, all I had was my live, my recording of it, like what I did with just me and Tim. So there was some vibe, of what it would feel like. But I used to be really afraid of, like, especially since I tend to play pretty low on the roads, like, is that going to conflict too much with the bass? But just Lisa's sound is so great. So it just stands on its own and is a separate sound, I feel, when I'm listening to it. And then Go, I feel like you just have such a great library of sounds. I know I like my limited vocabulary is like, I want it to be a guitar sound, or I want it to be a sound effects that's like, or no, in that instance, I don't think I did that, you know what I mean? That was all him. But like sometimes I might say, okay, here's this weird sound effect that I think could fit. But I actually, in live stuff, I feel like I haven't done that so much. I've done that more in the recording studio, and thankfully worked with some people, like on my These Are the Highs and Lows track recording. There's like a tree falling in the middle of it, and I was like, I want like a big smashing tree sound, or it's like boom, So library of sounds.
Well, and I was wondering, Tim, like okay, this is a question I had, because like, so when Michelle is working on a tune, is she off in the garage working, and like, she's like, don't look at me, don't come in here, don't bug me. And then, or is she, like in the middle of your house, like playing the piano, I was like, hey guys, check this out. I just wondered, like, are you privy to the process when these songs are, gestating, or she's finally like, okay, it's ready for you?
No, I am, but she works really fast. It's like, okay, I got these changes together I've been hearing, and I'm going to get these lyrics together in 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes later, it's not a lot of, mulling over, really. She always works real fast. She always has, even when we first started playing music together, it was like tune. She's just writing tune after tune after tune after tune. I was just like, sheesh, man. That was when we first really met each other. So it's always been kind of that way. Like, she gets inspired, and then they just come really fast.
Well, At one point, Michelle, didn't you had like a residency, or you set up it was at the Red Poppy, right? You were telling me?
Yeah, that was at Red Poppy in San Francisco. Todd Brown was running the space more directly, I think, at that time. And I think it had a different name at that point. And they were just setting it up, and I just walked by. I walked down the street thinking to myself, you know what I really need? A place I can play every week and work out these tunes. And then it was like, oh, what's this space? And then I walked in and I told him that. And he's like, that's exactly what we were just talking about. So, yes,
Yeah, I just was that a thing where you'd bring some songs in and see what happens, and then the next week it's the same set of stuff, and they just change over time, or you?
Yeah, at that point in time, I also was doing this thing because I couldn't really sort it out. So it was almost like everybody play everything always. So everybody this is the whole song, and everybody do it all at once. Mostly, I'm not gonna have sections or bring my voice up in the mix in any way, or and I also had the benefit of people in that community who were willing to try it out. Sometimes oftentimes it wasn't the same musicians each week. So that gave me a chance to understand how I'm communicating, whether I'm expressing where to go, with the sound.
Yeah, I'll say as someone that was in that band most of the time, it was mostly like a lead sheet, like in jazz, where you have just the melody and the chord changes, and different people would come in and interpret it kind of the way they heard it, and everyone was really flexible. It was really fun as a musician to be in that circumstance, because all the musicians were very sympathetic, and it was all people with huge ears and very they just wanted to serve the song that was happening at that time. It was really an inspiring time for sure. And the bands were always changing. It was different bass players and different keyboard players, and there was always one or two horn players that would come, and it was really fun.
I remember being in one of those sessions and just hanging on for dear life, Michelle with her binder of songs, and then it was just like, wow, I've never seen so many slash chords. Oh my god!
Oh no!
So I guess that's I was just wondering about Lisa and Goh. Did you have lyric sheets in front of you for this, or was it here's the general structure of the tune, and you're just listening to what's happening in the moment?
It's kind of a mix, because Michelle made me a Spotify playlist, and I didn't have Spotify. I specifically subscribed to Spotify just to rehearse for several months.
Shame on you.
You know what? I didn't have Spotify my entire forever, and then I was like, you know what? You can stream these for free on my website. Why do I care if it's just another avenue?
Well, because corporate greed. Because
I know, but I did all of the administrative work that I hate to do to get it up there, and now I'm like, I don't know. It's probably going to take me another 20 years to take them down. Sorry, just no. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, it took me I was so resistant to it for so long, and now I don't know. I am in this economy. There's nothing I can do about it. I wish I wasn't, and that I had more resources to produce more music.
Well, yeah, and that was one of the things you and I were talking about beforehand, is people don't really realize how much it's oh yeah, so it wasn't just hey, Michelle's doing a barn show. Michelle decided on Friday, hey, Ben's, the pigs are out of season, they're not in the barn. Let's just call everybody up and we'll get together on tomorrow and do the gig. You were telling me people don't really realize how much work goes into doing
and I don't know. I think that the statistic I think about is 10 years old, because I haven't heard any new statistics, but it was Asian American Arts Council in New York that did a study of artists in New York, and that people were going $10,000 into debt every year to produce their work. And I mean, that's me, I don't make money yet off of anything I've done.
Yeah.
But I also am not out there like on the ground. I mean, I'm not doing every gig that could come my way as a singer. And I don't know that that's just the decision I made at a younger age, where it broke my heart too much to try and sing these songs in a like not caring setting. You know what I mean? It was just like, I thought I was confused when I wrote these songs. Now I'm like doubly, I can't get out, So yeah, I mean, I think I do know, these musicians came together the day of the show and rehearsed all day, right up until the show, and then did the show, and then drove back, some of them very far away. And I certainly, they were gracious with their fee, for sure, to make it possible. And I was thinking about that because I think that's been the case all along. I really have not, I've been very fortunate that people believe in my music and are willing to perform, to perform it for the sake of performing it. I'm always offering what I can, but I certainly am aware that their rate is, I want to be able to pay them much more. That's what I can say, It's actually how I started the Patreon thing too, because I just thought, okay, I was very resistant to that as well, as kind of just resistant to all economy. Just, I was just like, forget it, But yeah, that's how I started the Patreon up too, because I just want to be able to do this on a larger scale, and I can only do like this maybe every 3 times a year, probably, so, but yeah, I don't know.
well, I mean, it's great. I mean, I love attending house shows and I love playing them. But yeah, I mean, and it's often some of the most satisfying gigs I've done. But yeah, it's hard to sustain that, I know. But I wanted to ask you this. I don't know if this goes along with this, but just your songs, like a lot of the songs are addressed to you, or like that last song we were listening to, it's like it's like, it's not, of course you've got other songs, from a like single perspective, but it seems like you're often inviting us in as a listener, and it's could you speak about that? Or like it's just, I love it. They're so no, but I mean, I just love how they have this really positive vibe, or they're talking about real things, and it's like the way you do it, it's not like I'm going to tell you how to be up with people. It's more like, here's what's going on, and like it's like a friend is talking to you, and like, here's what I found that is amazing about like existing. So I was wondering, like, okay, that's
awesome.
Easy question to answer. But I was wondering where that perspective came from, where it's like, it's often you're addressing someone as you or we, and it's like wondering where that came from.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I like to try and solve emotions, that are challenging for me, or that I witness are challenging, and when I say solve, I mean like work through to a place that feels comfortable and resolved, or that I'm aware that is unresolved. And I don't feel in my day-to-day life, I might feel very alone with those feelings, but in music, I do not feel. I recognize those emotions as universal and perhaps not, discussed. Like it's not lost on me that like most of America is on antidepressants. That's not a personal experience. That's not a personal experience. That is a societal like problem. that there's not something there that makes us all feel good. So in that sense, I feel like it's both universal in our immediate society, but then hopefully I'm addressing that as its eternal state, not its temporary state. So, but also a lot of the songs are just collages of phrases of different life experiences and not just my own. So something I've witnessed, and I think a lot of artists would say the same about their work, that it's not one thing. That answers it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, Lisa, you're a composer, you do, so many different things, and Goh as well. It's like, I'm wondering, what's it like to walk into this situation? What do you think you're bringing to the situation? Like, where do you find is your entry point in other people's, like when you're the side person with, someone?
I mean, I can talk about Michelle in particular. I mean, she's super self-deprecating, like most great artists, about like, because you go into your project thinking about what's not solved, what you haven't figured out. And so now she's verbalizing that. But I guess I just want to say, like, as the person who has experienced her music as a listener and also played on it and just has seen her over the year, what she does, like, actually, she has like a super clear idea of what she wants. And there's like this intentionality behind every tune and like the vibe she's going for and the feeling and these like really evocative melodies and how they sit with the harmony. So I feel like what's very cool as a side person with Michelle is that she's got these identities of these pieces in mind that are like just self-evident the way she's crafted them. And there's all this work and thought that's gone into that and craft. But then because she works with jazz players, even though you could say this isn't jazz, this is like pop music or electronic music or whatever, like she has this sensibility of like, I'm going to let the musicians just like fill in some of the texture around it. Like she knows how much to keep it open so that everybody wants to put their personalities in. But her thing is so her thing, and it's so clear to me, and it's got such a strong presence that for me, like, that's what's fun, is to be like, oh, she's open about how I express this thing, but it doesn't mean she doesn't know what she wants. It doesn't mean it's not clear. So I guess I just want to say that. It also happens a lot with women artists where it's like, I'm not going to take full responsibility for my authorship, but she's bad. And these tunes it's just really fun to like participate kind of in lifting up this architecture that she gives you. And sometimes it's really a lot that we can contribute. Sometimes it's, very constrained in terms of what a vision is, but that's really fun for me. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely I want the songs to be living and breathing, and so there's that aspect for sure. I was thinking about that today, that I want a recording of this song, the song we just heard, in 10 years to have its own feeling to it. I mean, I think, I guess, an example of that is the I Still Believe one, which is from the True Believers album. We can play that one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
Let's listen to that. I love the intro on this. It's so cool.
All right.
I love the rest of it too.
another day. So clear, you hear someone whisper, there's a better way. Someone whispers, there's another way. Smiles and whispers come from every direction. Smiles and whispers of a better way. 'Cause you still believe in the days to come, and all you believe lies in the setting sun.
All right. I know it's tough to cut it short, but
that's because we were all trancing out, and we had to bring ourselves back to earth there. I'm sorry, I was starting to do this. Oh
no.
Yes. Oh, another comment from the show was
that, Randy.
What was that?
Oh, you trancing out.
That's right. Yeah. Another comment after the show was our oldest Sophia was like, Michelle Amador is my new icon.
Does that mean I need an emoji? Do I get like an emoji? Is it icon?
I think so. I don't know what these kids mean by this, but I advise TikTok. You should go on TikTok.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
so another thing. So the weekly show so if people don't know, Michelle does a weekly Tuesday night thing that is amazing. It's broadcast live from where Tim is sitting.
Yeah.
Wave Tim. Yeah. It's got Tim's artwork everywhere. Those cool paintings are Tim's. There's always cool lighting. It's always different, so you never know what's going to happen. But it's amazing because, like, in the midst of this crushing pandemic, and I don't use that term lightly, it was pretty early on into that. You were like, I'm going to do this. You started doing this show, and I don't know if that was an idea that was germinating prior to that, but what I was really impressed by, like, every week there was like a new song or something that you started off with, and then you talked to amazing people. Goh, I loved your rendition of The Kiss. I'm now like obsessed with Judy. Judy Soul. So thank you. That was
I
gorgeous.
forgot I did that.
I actually loved your version. I like when I heard the original, I was like, this is great, but Go was really cool on this. But that was but it's I always love that show because you know have different people on talking about stuff. But anyway, I was just so impressed by creating and then, you know, doing these new things. And, you know, we'll talk about, I think later when we play another tune, like you're doing like songwriting challenges with people. And also I just want to say to the rest of you, the band, like you guys came out and did this show and it was like, it was in the third wave of, you know, the coronavirus. So I was like, it's such an uplifting thing. So I guess I was just wondering, like, Michelle, like how did it come about, the weekly thing? And like,
I mean, the weekly thing, I think because of the pandemic, I had to really wake up to where I was or was not with my own writing and my own performing in the world, and kind of, I don't know, you know, when you're not in other people's bands, you're only making your show or showing up every once in a while for someone else's project, which you're super grateful for, but you don't, you know, you just don't know. You're like kind of floating and don't feel anchored. So I think
I had a teacher that one time was like, you got to compose and you got to do stuff before you're like worthy to be in other people's bands. So,
oh, wow.
I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out. Like, you know, it's like you take care of you have to figure out your creative identity before you have something to contribute to other people or something. But anyway,
yes,
I interrupted your stream there.
And the creative identity thing was always always felt hard or felt hard, very hard in the beginning and less hard now, you know. And I think I was constantly feeling that I wasn't achieving something. And so it was frustrating and hard. And suddenly by doing this weekly show, and I think just being okay with whatever I happen to write. I mean, maybe it's great, maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter. This is what's happening right now. And also in the scheme of the world, jumbled up thoughts and things that don't make sense, and it's all kind of happening. So it's not reflective of where people are. And the weekly show also came when we first moved out here. I did a weekly blog posting. I think I would write something each week for that, because we moved, I was unearthing all of these past songs and reconsidering who I am and what in a way, I was being more accepting of myself as I uncovered these, this like architectural dig of my own music. And the weekly thing did another pass, like another layer of that, in that I really struggled to feel like I was part of any community, and definitely felt like other people would make me feel like I wasn't good enough, and maybe it was imagined or whatever. Sometimes you just feel like an outsider. Partially, I think also because my music doesn't fit it's not in the center of a scene. At least an existing one. Maybe one will, jump in. I'll rotate in somehow. But like,
you are the scene.
I'm the scene. I'm making a scene. So if that's not happening, it's just hard to feel at home or feel connected. And I think one of the exciting things when I thought about that blog, and then also how do I stay connected to other people that I care about, I realized that the community that I'm a part of is the community I'm a part of, and it's eclectic, and it's in different genres, and it's in different cities. And I've had the luck of getting to meet people in different cities and experience their artwork. And so those connections every week were, I mean, Tim saw my face before some of those shows. It was just like, like, how am I barely getting myself here, And then it's like, oh, wow, that was a really great conversation and beautiful artwork. And like, all right, let's face the next week, you know?
Yeah.
Hopefully doing that for everyone else who's participating too, you know, that was my hope.
Another component of that was a new thing for you. You're saying you would do a cover tune at the end of each episode. And I remember when Goh was on your show, you guys were talking about that as you know, like, I think Michelle, you're like, I never really related to that before, but then Goh was like, oh, I really like doing that because if I'm remembering right, I think Goh, you were saying like, oh yeah, I get all these things from those. You know, like, could you guys speak to that? And like Lisa also, like you and Lisa and Tim, I mean, you guys play a lot of repertoire. I mean, say like in the jazz world and other places, but like, like, what do you feel? I mean, I don't know if you guys could just speak about how those things inform, you know, Michelle, you, like I said, what did you learn from this cover experience?
I mean, it was a great exercise for just appreciating other people's efforts. You know, there are a lot of interesting choices that you don't realize people are making in their music until you sit down and actually try to do it. So for me, that was everything from, oh, you know, why this word? I don't want to sing this word, or whatever it is, you know, why this phrase? It sounds so corny. Now I have to try and mean it. Or why this melody, or why this repetition, or wow, this is way more complex than I thought it was. I thought it was just this like easy song because it sounded so easy, but it really was kind of thing. So, and I think, I don't know, for my voice, I learned a lot that because in all of the cases, I was trying to sing in the original key of whatever the recording was. So just to understand, I do believe that the key of something holds, the key signature that something's in holds a special, you know, metaphysical value. So I wanted to understand that as well, even if I wasn't necessarily so excited about my voice in those ranges. I was okay with that experiment.
Interesting. I do that a lot. I'll take songs and I'll capo them, change the key of them as much, like just to see where I can sit most comfortably or bend it to my will, kind of. I'm not going to be playing like Led Zeppelin or anything. But I guess what I have to say is in a past life, I used to play like a almost weekly kind of cover gig at either, well, in Los Angeles, I was playing a lot of hotel lobby gigs where it's just basically I'm getting paid $100 to rehearse and practice a bunch of covers. Actually, one time a guy came up to me after. He was like, wow, I didn't know there was a person playing. I thought it was the radio. I was like, what? Oh my God.
Good thing, bad thing, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I guess I'm like a shapeshifter. I can turn invisible when I want.
Well,
but
it's
it is a little bit
because
like trying on different costumes, you know, like Halloween, musical Halloween. Like, you know, I'm gonna take this Def Leppard song and try to strip as much ridiculousness out of it and put it in a different context or something. I don't know if that's possible.
That's great.
Yeah, I think Tim's heard me say this a few times because like we'll be driving somewhere to a gig or something. I'll be like, Michelle's tunes, they're so cool. Like they always surprise me. They're not going where I think they're going to go or something. Or like it's like one chord, like you think it's going to go here, and then all of a sudden it modulates up, and then the phrases. It feels like they're it's almost like they're through composed, or like they're like I'm not so aware of like the structure because I love how it I don't know, it just feels unpredictable to me in a really great way. Like, and hey, should we listen to? We were talking about a tune.
Oh yeah,
you were talking
we
about
have time for one. I think we have time for one more here. So let's play Tide.
I
So
could let
this
you pick that. I mean, I was thinking of Tide because that was like a new songwriting thing that you did, but
yeah, that was part of the
if it's something
7-day
else.
songwriting challenge, and I did it kind of just all voice when I first did it as part of the songwriting challenge, and then these beautiful humans added some great sound. So I'll start that off here.
The tide was always set, the waves would always come. I could not have guessed I would be the one with so much given, more coming still. So much given, more to will. No wonder we get lost, we find our way. But how do we do it? A poet's words could only say. But we don't turn to poems as often as we should. We don't turn to beauty in all the ways we could. The tide was always set, the waves would always come. I could not have guessed I would be the one with so much given, more coming still. So much given, more to will. No wonder we get lost, we find our way. But how do we do it? A poet's words could only say. But we don't turn to poems as often as we should. We don't turn to beauty in all the ways we could. The tide was always set, the waves would always come. I could not have guessed I would be the one. So much given, more coming still. So much given, more to will.
Oh man.
Yay!
And the amazing thing, there's so much more of this. We listened to like 3 little bits of this amazing thing. So I was wondering, how do people stay in touch? Like, is this going to be on SoundCloud for a little while longer? Or?
Yeah, so this is part 1. Part 2 actually has more songs. I just realized that. Part 2 has more songs, which is exciting. And that I'm going to, so SoundCloud will stay up for another week. So anybody, anywhere, go ahead and listen to it. But then it's going to go away and be just for people on Patreon who want to hear it whenever at the touch of a button. And then on the 8th, I'm going to release part 2 early to Patreon subscribers. And then I'll release it on the 1st to on SoundCloud. And then we'll figure out when we could do a listening party, but probably sometime in late April, we'll do something like this Q&A again.
So how do people get on? How do you people get onto the Patreon? How do they?
So it's patreon.com and then / Michelle Amador Music, and you can pick a level that makes sense for you or don't. It's not for everyone, and that's totally okay. You know, it's more for like if you want this little dose all the time, then I'm here for you. You know.
And so, are there more barn shows planned? Like you talked about doing a barnstorming tour.
I know. Well,
I think let's just put the word out there.
Yeah, I need another barn host. I'd love someone to underwrite the cost if they're willing, and I'd love to film it. We just had some camera technical difficulties, but so we don't actually have filmed footage of the full show. We have some clips, and I'm going to try and put those together. But yeah, I'd love to have it professionally filmed and move it forward in like even more fun ways, you know? So,
well, I want to say like the beginning of the show was so cool because we're going to end this tonight with a thing about the beginning was, Michelle thanked us all for being there. Thank Ben Zappin and Ingrid Bauer for hosting, they're great. This was such a great thing, but I loved how you said, I was in this thing. It was like, imagine your perfect gig. And what is it? What are you wearing? And, like I was wearing this dress that I'm wearing tonight. And this isn't quite the Hollywood Bowl, but here we are. And I love that general sense of just like, if you imagine it, it can happen. And I think that's like all your stuff. It's like that night felt like, oh, this is amazing that, I felt really privileged to be there in that spot. And it was, it was really special. And I, encourage people to check out as much of it as they can and look forward for the word for the next one. And I want to thank all of you, Tim Bulkley, Lisa Mezzacappa, Goh Nakamura, Michelle Amador, and please, folks, stick around. We have a short little thing. It's gonna let you know, like it's got the credits and it'll tell you more about the music that we've been listening to tonight. And any last words, anyone?
Just more to come, I'm happy this all came together in like a kind of spark of creativity and, looking forward to more to come. So thanks so much for everyone tuning in and appreciating the music and sharing it. I really do appreciate it. So thank you. I guess with that, we'll roll the credits. Thanks, everyone.
Right.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
The more you give, the more it takes. Best is something you won't fake. Oh, talent is a funny thing. Oh, funny thing about talent. Oh, talent is a funny thing we all pursue. The best in me is the best in you. Oh, my friends who know that's true. Oh, talent is a funny thing.